Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast.
This isn't two podcasters talking business. This is two business guys trying to podcast.
What, you're waving around that hand like you're some sort of Jedi? I'm a Toydarian. Mind tricks don't work on me. Only money. No money, no parts, no deal. There was a tweet today.
I can say, is that some original lyrical right there?
There was a tweet today came across that said, be brutally honest with yourself. What Star Wars character do you think you're most like? And most people are like, oh, I'm an Obi-Wan. Oh, I'm a Captain Rex. And I'm like, yeah, honestly, take Watto, who was the junk trader who owned Anakin as a slave. I'm like, take Watto without the slavery, and that's pretty much me. Mind tricks don't work on me, only money.
Yeah, just like a side plot character, just like on his hustle.
Yeah, he was. I think he had like an offensive. He had a big nose and loved money and had kind of an accent.
That
and they're like,
describes
is this
you...
a caricature of someone?
Your nose isn't that big.
Some sort of person, some sort of group of people that are notorious for being obsessed with money and have big noses.
Oh, it's the Jews.
Yeah, well, don't say it now.
Sorry, you got to beep that out.
It's like the banker, the goblins in Harry Potter that are bankers.
Yeah,
and they're all like stereotypical Jews.
Yeah,
and, yeah. And then you find out fucking J.K. Rowling's like a TERF, and you're like, oh, that makes sense. Hi, Tyler.
Hi, welcome
to the what?
The podcast that this is.
Which is?
Judging by what's in my hand, alcohol. Beyond that point right there.
And my name is Willows as well.
Yeah, and my name is Tyler as also.
Welcome to episode 50 of Alcohol Beyond This Point.
50?
Yeah.
I just realized how exciting that is.
I mean, it's kind of exciting. And today we're drinking the 5-year anniversary brew of Little Brown Jug Brewing Company here in Winnipeg. It's a beer made with champagne yeast. Tastes very much like champagne to me. How do you like it?
Yeah, I definitely get the champagne. Delicious.
Really flavorful beer. I like it. 8% too, so let's see. I don't know. What's up?
Well, it's one of those weeks where paying attention to the world and the news is like a little bit depressing. There's some good, there's some bad. It's like I thought like the whole, guys getting released that were initially jailed for the killing of Malcolm X. I'm like, that was pretty cool. Like, America's facing its darkest, most awful things that it's done, and then immediately after, the daughter is found dead. Malcolm X's daughter is found dead in her home, like whatever, in her 50s, of quote unquote natural causes. Like, yeah, I'm sure. I don't know. It's just really fucking depressing.
Do you want me to bring out the tinfoil hats, or was that the end of this?
That's a good. I haven't looked enough into it. Like, aside from our friend JL mentioning it yesterday, I didn't know it was a thing. I saw like a headline on it today, but I don't think I want to put a tinfoil hat on for this, because I'm pretty sure it's bloody apparent
that the CIA is just killing people, and
yeah, like,
it's not even a conspiracy anymore.
They've already admitted to, or at least it's not admitted to, but like it's been released. They like supplied crack cocaine to the Black Panthers to like turn them into an infighting drug gang instead of a functional civil rebellion. Like, they were tailing fucking Ernest Hemingway. Like,
oh yeah, Hemingway said to his family that he thought he was being followed by the FBI, and they called him crazy. And then years later, they declassified documents that said they absolutely were following him and tapped his phones for 10 years.
Yeah.
And he killed himself with a shotgun he bought at Macy's. Fun fact.
Wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of shotguns at Macy's, I think gun ownership and carrying of guns is going to get like pretty much effectively deregulated.
Oh, because of the hero Kyle Rittenhouse.
No, it was already happening, but that's gonna help.
I saw you met with Trump today.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty funny.
I think it's
That
great.
tracks. That tracks.
Yeah, of course it does. Like,
Well, did you watch him on Tucker Carlson
I saw some clips.
where he said he supports Black Lives Matter?
Yeah.
And he said, my favorite quote was, "Look what they tried to do to me. Imagine if I was a black kid, I'd be fucking killed. I'd be in jail."
Yeah.
Like that's pretty self-aware. It's interesting.
Yeah, no, I think he's aware. Like, think about how smart you were at 17.
How smart I was, or how smart I thought I was.
Both.
Okay, got it.
This guy is now suddenly one of the most famous people in the world.
Yeah, but it's not unlike the Sandy Hook kids
Right.
that tried to make a media career after surviving a school shooting.
It's more than that though. Like, he's become a political icon.
Yeah, well, so were they.
The Sandy Hook kids were victims.
But they were like trying to champion for gun rights, like the opposite
right,
of
but
gun rights. The opposite of what Kyle Rittenhouse is doing.
no, but my point is the world has politicized him. They didn't make themselves political. Or he didn't make himself political. He became a political icon, like a case that
What you call an icon living?
exactly.
Started a record label, Misfits just did it. What?
All I remember about that song is the White Tesla. That was a good video.
Yeah, shout out Jaden Smith.
Anyways, yeah, it just became a case that's it's like dog whistle for shoot anyone that stands for Black Lives, and also if you go into a protest with a gun and you make people feel threatened, and then some crazy runs at you because inevitably there's going to be some fucking crazies in the crowd.
Yeah, it's America. Come on.
Yeah, there's people that go there just to fuck shit up. There's absolutely going to be some crazies. Some crazies like, oh, there's a child with a assault rifle. I'm going to fuck him up.
Isn't it kind of wild? Like, I understand that he was within his legal rights, now proven by a court of law.
Well,
Isn't that kind of weird? Like, it's just kind of crazy that he can just, like, carry that weapon out in public.
underage. Yeah.
Like, it's
it's
kind of weird.
considered like a long gun. Like, they put it in the same category as like a bolt action hunting rifle.
But I couldn't hold a fucking bolt action hunting rifle outside here.
No.
Like,
No, it couldn't be out of its case. You couldn't even have it loose in your vehicle. Like,
yeah. Actually, long guns, I think you can.
loose in your vehicle? No.
I know shotguns you absolutely can. You can have it loose as long as it's not touching ammunition. You can have the gun in your trunk and the ammunition in your front seat.
I'm pretty sure it's got to be cased and trigger locked.
Trigger locked, yeah, but
Okay, not cased.
Not, I don't think cased. No.
Yeah, either way, not walking around a fucking riot with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're just asking for fucking conflict.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I think we've talked about this before, that you can't just rip the gun rights out of America. Like, that's like what they're based on.
I'm not saying it's not a gun rights issue, though. Like, people who are very pro-gun are like, that's stupid.
Okay.
Like, like, even the people that took to the stand, like one of the guys that he shot is like,
The only one that survived.
yeah, he's like, I'm obviously very left-leaning. he was a medic for the protest.
That just happened to bring a handgun.
Yeah, well, he brings a handgun because, I mean...
Because there's kids with 17-year-old kids with long rifles.
Yeah, so he sees, like, an active shooter situation, or no, he hears gunshots, runs towards the gunshots, because that's what he does. He's a fucking medic. And just by accident runs smack into Rittenhouse. And the way that he says it is Rittenhouse pointed his gun at the medic, and he was on the ground.
I saw the video. He was on one knee,
Right.
and pulled his pistol out of his holster, pointing it towards the kid, and then the kid squeezed the trigger on his gun, and his gun was faster because it's a fucking AR-15.
No, before that, like, apparently Rittenhouse had the gun on him first, and then he dry fire. Like he pulled the trigger and it didn't fire.
Okay.
And then he was down on one knee and he racked the gun like to clear the jam.
Yeah.
He racked it and then pulled it up again, and that's when the medic had his gun on him.
Okay.
And then he pulled the trigger. So the medic pulled his gun when he saw Rittenhouse would have killed him if the gun wouldn't have jammed.
Yeah.
And then when he racked it, he's like, okay, this kid intends to kill me. And then he pulled his gun. That's how he told it on the stand.
Yeah.
But because the gun didn't fire, he just thought that it was a misfire, and like it was his perception of the racking and whatever. Like,
and also, this all happened in 1 second.
right, exactly. So this was, he's like, that was my process, but because Rittenhouse didn't fire,
Yeah. He didn't initiate it.
exactly.
Yeah. Which is the distinction here.
Yeah,
Is that who is the aggressor?
right.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, the case itself, I think, is extremely even split down the middle of like, was it self-defense, was it not? Like when you look at the facts of the case within the context of the event that happened itself, because he had a right to be there, he had a right to carry that gun, and he had a right to defend himself against like force, against equal threat. And
a jury of his peers determined that he was indeed either perceived that he was in danger or was in danger.
Yeah, and key part is jury of his peers, which was predominantly white, and he was allowed to pick his juror alternates.
Well, he picked them out of a hat, though. I did more research on that.
Yeah. Which was in itself really unusual.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's usually done by a court clerk, but there was a bunch of irregularities about the actual.
It's just because it was so publicized, I bet.
That one, yeah, I can see how that one's pretty gray area. The part of the judge saying, you can't call them victims, you have to call them rioters, looters, and arsonists.
Apparently, that's pretty common too.
No, it's not.
Apparently, it is.
No, it's not. It's you're not necessarily you're not allowed to call them victims
because in a shooting thing like this, they're not necessarily victims.
Correct. But the rioters, looters, and arsonists isn't.
Okay.
Because
vernacular that you should be replacing victim with.
Because you shouldn't be able to use that unless those people have been convicted of those crimes.
Well, that's actually fair, because if I call them an arsonist, that's slander. They're not convicted of being an arsonist.
The judge basically legitimized slander in the courtroom and said you can call them arsonists, rioters, and looters, but there's no evidence that any of them did any of those things.
That's interesting.
Which was obviously very fucking biased.
Yeah.
Right? That's how you're referring to the people that got shot is criminals. And one of them, granted, was a fucking criminal.
One of them was a child rapist.
Yeah.
He did 6 years in prison for child molestation.
And was like fresh out.
Yeah, fresh out of prison for like a month.
And he traveled like 5 times further than Rittenhouse to be at that place.
Yeah, just because the state's really tall. Rittenhouse crossed state lines, I'm doing quotations, to the next town over.
Yeah.
And this guy drove like 400 kilometers. Like...
Yeah, so piece of shit, whatever. Like, I don't pretend to actually care about the case itself.
I do not care about this at all.
It's the only reason that I think it's interesting to pay attention to or important at all is because of the importance that I guess the media or just people are putting behind it. Like, people are treating this guy like Captain fucking America. They're like, this is the best example of an American teen we could possibly imagine.
I think this is something that'll go away like everything else.
Maybe.
Do you remember that Sandman Kid? The kid who was wearing a MAGA hat and smiling on TV while he was like getting screamed at or whatever.
Yeah.
That was a whole thing. He, as far as I understand, won a libel case against like the Washington Post. Yeah. Because they took a out of context clip and painted him to be this fucking, racist teen or whatever.
Yeah. Which
allegedly he was not. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion either way.
Yeah, apparently it was a lot of bullshit. It was just bad reporting. I think this one's going to be, like, we're not going to hear about it. I think it'll go out of the news cycle, but I do think he's going to be, like, frequent guest if he consents, I guess. Depends. It all depends on him.
Yeah.
But at that age, it's kind of hard to turn down
you want
publicity.
You want to be
right?
famous, right? Like,
yeah, so he's going to be on fucking campaign tours, likely.
Yeah, he'll be on Fox and Friends all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be the start of something like that. So he'll be in the media space a lot for that reason, I think. And it's not gonna be relevant to most people, but it's gonna keep going because the Republican Party loves anyone that represents, fighting against the horrible, destructive, nasty protesters. And I am going somewhere with this. It will come full circle. But my personal grievance issue, I guess, with fucking Rittenhouse is just based on 2 videos that I saw. One of which where he gets in a street fight, like in a parking lot, and he sucker punches a girl like half his size in the back of the head, which I think is pretty cool.
Maybe the girl deserved it.
Sure.
Maybe she consented.
Even if she did.
You don't know the context of that video. Maybe it was a sex thing. Oh no, that is child porn. Shit!
Ooh, worse. Second thing was...
Wasn't he with a bunch of, like, Proud Boys?
Okay, that was third thing, yeah. No, he was, taking a bunch of selfies. Like, the night after he killed these people, he was, like, in a bar, 17 in a bar, getting purchased drinks by a bunch of guys with, like, fucking swastikas and shit on them, throwing up white power signs.
We've all been there.
It's fine. Free beer. Throw up whatever gang signs they tell you
I
to.
have done a lot of sketchy things for free beer, if we're being honest.
Including that one time you shot a bunch of people for the...
It was 3 people.
Yeah. And then the other one was him talking about how he was looking forward to the opportunity to kill someone, and was describing how he would do it and what gun he would use, and it was an AR-15, and he's like... basically the same idea of, like, defending some business, like, I want this opportunity, like, to protect my like, he was kind of going along those lines. Not like he just wanted to go and randomly murder someone, but it's like, I think it'd be cool if I, like, was in this position where I had to kill someone.
And God gave him that opportunity.
Yeah.
God bless Kyle Rittenhouse, and God bless America.
Jesus is on his side, which is pretty cool. Oh, did you hear about the Unite the Right? The big Unite the Right rally, put on by a bunch of... it was like the major groups of Unite the Right. It's like your fucking neo-Nazis, your neoconservatives, your Proud Boys, 3%ers, and the
just plain old guys from Montana
and Confederate, like, sympathizer reenactors, whatever. Those guys run around with fucking Confederate flags on their trucks and scream at you. Anyway, they settled they got a settlement handed down to them by a judge for $26 million for damages, due to, I think, 12 plaintiffs that were basically just beat the fuck out of at this. There was like a counter protest. Antifa showed up to counter protest, and they just, like, beat the ever living fuck out of them on the street. And the cops were like, "Hey, good job!" Like, they knew it was happening. The cops didn't show up.
Punch Nazis.
And the one guy got in his car and plowed through a bunch of people and killed one of them.
As one does.
That guy's serving life in prison. He was ordered to pay $12 million, which I don't know how the fuck you're gonna do that if you're in prison for life.
You gotta make a lot of fucking license plates.
What are they paying these days? 16, 20 cents an hour?
Well, yeah, 20 cents an hour if you take it in Cantina credits, and 15 cents an hour if you don't.
Nice. But yeah, where I was going with that is fucking protest is a wonderful thing, no matter what side of the dispute you're on. I'll always support, the right to protest.
So you're saying you support Kyle Rittenhouse shooting people? Tyler?
Yes. I think so. I think protest is awesome, and the state does not.
True.
Civil unrest makes them squirrely. They're a bunch of privileged trust fund blackface wearing motherfuckers, and they're like, "Oh no, the people are angry." Like, their the only tool of the state against protest is truly to turn, you have to turn the public opinion against them, right?
And that's what they're doing to the hero Kyle Rittenhouse.
Right, because he was against this protest.
And the hero Trump.
Exactly. Think about what's happening with the
Yeah, I don't know. The
Wet'suwet'en?
There's a native reserve who's currently being attacked by militarized police in northern British Columbia. And, yeah, it's a whole thing.
They arrested reporters, documentary makers, like CBC documentary makers,
they're like
and threw them in jail for 3 days.
They're like smashing cameras and shit. Like,
Yeah.
it's fucking wild. And then our farthest left party, which people call socialists, are the ones ordering it.
Yeah. Which
Like-
is cool.
Dude, I don't give a shit what kind of land acknowledgements these NDP people do at the beginning of their fucking speeches. They're fascists just like everyone else.
If you want to quell a protest, you cannot effectively do it without first turning the public opinion against them. But if the public opinion is against them, like with Black Lives Matter,
Yeah.
they're a bunch of rioters, looters, and arsonists.
True. You
Any
heard it here, folks. from
any
Tyler.
counter force is justified.
Yeah.
Up to and including murder by a 17-year-old, like
Yeah.
taking the law into his own hands. Like, if you're in favor of whatever the fuck just happened with Rittenhouse, remember, it's all fun and games until
You're on the
you-
end of the barrel.
until it's ha ha ha, please face wall,
Yeah.
because inevitably it will fucking come for you. Yeah, I don't know. It's very uncomfortable to see that happening at the same time as like voter suppression laws being like, it's getting, for the first time since what is the name of this index? There's like a not-for-profit that basically indexes democracies around the world and just kind of is like a watchdog, I guess. They just monitor coups and whatever, and they just kind of keep an accountable list of everything that's
I
going
think
on.
Freedom Index is a thing, right?
Yeah, this one's specifically like successive democracy.
Okay.
And for the first time since this index was started, like, I don't know, a few decades ago, for the first time ever, U.S. has been downgraded.
Nice. Good. I like them. At least we all knew it, but it's good to know that, like,
It's good to be validated.
the establishment is...
We're like, is it just us? Do I just watch too much news? It's like, no, it's actually bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes I like ask myself that. I'm like, am I just one of those people that's like, the sky is falling?
Well, I'm in a weird spot where I simultaneously believe this is the worst society anyone has ever lived in, and also the best society anyone has ever lived in.
Right? I know how you feel. Like, anytime you think things are bad, like, just read the history on like anything happened during the Black Plague. Like, that was bad.
Well, think about everything. Literally everything. The entire world is based on fucking war and murder and crusades and conquering and imperialism and colonialism, and there's nothing.
Genocides and...
There's nothing. We're just horrible people, but now we have the internet and 27 flavors of fucking fruit by the foot. So I think it's the best time to live in.
I was gonna say the difference is, though, now there's like permanent consequences in climate change and destroying our fucking environment and like filling the ocean with plastic. Like, there's real consequences outside of, potentially being shot by the state or being thrown in prison or being in a politically tumultuous time. Like, this is beyond that. This is permanent fucking damage. Willow's got the Rona.
Yeah, if you hear me sniffling, I'm trying to do it away from the mic. I don't think it's COVID. I'm if I have COVID and I'm giving it to you right now, I apologize in advance, but I'm pretty sure it's not.
No, I think you have I don't know what you call it. I call it like a gym fever.
Why? Okay, so I woke
or
up.
gym cold.
I woke up yesterday, and my only symptom was I had a super sore throat.
Yeah.
And it's still like it's the second week of snow. It's fucking dry out. And then over the weekend, I had this big trade show where I did 20 hours on my feet for over 3 days. In a packed gymnasium, or not gymnasium, like conference center, talking quite loudly because number one, you're wearing a mask. Number two, there's like music playing. So, I'm doing my pitch to all these customers while like yelling in a mask. And then like the next day I lose my voice and my throat hurts. I'm like, oh, that checks out, right?
Yeah.
And then I've just been eating cough drops all yesterday, and then today my throat doesn't really hurt anymore, but now I have a fucking wicked sinus thing. Like my nose is running.
Lovely.
Yeah, it is what it is. But I googled it, and sore throat is like a secondary COVID symptom, very uncommon, and like sinus problems is like not at all.
No, you just lose your sense of smell.
Yeah, and I can definitely smell if I'm not. My nose.
Yeah,
isn't
you can
plugged.
tell the difference between the sense is gone versus you're just stuffed up.
Yeah, I mean, I'll eat my words, but I'm 100% sure this isn't COVID.
I don't think you'll eat your words. If you do, just edit this out.
Yeah, just so people know I'm being super responsible.
You gonna get your third shot?
I can't yet till January.
But you're gonna?
Yeah, probably. I'll get it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of silly not to.
Yeah, I've already gotten 2, so may as well. The only reason I would object to getting more shots is on a moral level.
Yeah.
Let's say that there's countries in Africa that still can't get their first shot because of supply.
I say countries everywhere.
Yeah. Like, Canada's getting a bunch of 4th shots right away for healthcare workers.
Right.
We just got like 1,200 of them or something. Like, and there's countries that can't get first shots.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
kind of like maybe we should be donating these. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I heard it explained the other day. They're like, yeah, we get it, but I mean, like the way that the logistics are, like this is, it's easy to say this after the fact, but they're like, yeah, basically these have been, purchased and are in like this is a foregone conclusion. This isn't like, oh, if you don't finish your leftovers, then children in Africa are gonna go hungry. Like,
yeah,
like yes and no. It is problematic, and like it would be great to protest it, but also at the same time, it's an kind of a ineffective protest.
Yeah, I'm not usually one to shy away from ineffective protests, though. I like to kind of act with my morals, whether or not it's going to make a difference or not. That being said,
if you got the shot initially, and there's no, you should probably continue the treatment. It's like,
yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. Is like I've already had 2.
Yeah, it's like being like anti-pharmacy, and you take only your first round of chemo, but like turn down the second one on principle.
Yeah, I've already fucked up. Like if I was gonna protest, I should have protested.
Yeah.
I saw a guy in Wholesale Club yesterday wearing a mask. This big fucking fat guy with a shirt that said "fuck the vaccine."
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure the vaccine.
Me and my business
feels
partner.
Bad about that.
Yeah, me and my business partner were both saw him at the same time and just looked at each other.
Really?
And he's like, "You wonder if that guy's vaccinated?" It was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's
the irony of these fucking big ass fat people
feeling strong.
Well, not only that, but also like denying the vaccine because they think they'll make them sick.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, your fucking heart is baked in butter. Like, the vaccine's not gonna fucking make you sick. Oh man, I don't know about that.
Get COVID, throw a blood clot, and bye.
Yeah, man. Like,
number one comorbidity next to being old is being obese.
Yeah, of course. Well, that makes sense. But then there's a lot of like anti-vaxxers that are co-opting what we're kind of saying here.
Yeah.
And we're obviously being not really facetious, but we're being like hyperbolic. Like,
Everyone's heard this a million times.
Well, and also I don't want to like if you want to be fat, I don't give a shit. I have a beer belly. I don't give like fuck whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think people should work out if they don't want to. I literally don't give a shit. I have no strong opinions on the subject.
I do. I think everyone needs an Adonis body, and you should, if you want to be a part of the superior race, you should.
Well, no, but like
lift weights.
we even know people that are like want to be influencers. Let's call them.
Sure.
That basically have the mentality that if people aren't going to the gym, they're lost.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're fucked in the head if you don't lift.
Yeah. And like I don't subscribe to that at all. I like fuck it. But I know that there's like anti-vax people that are kind of co-opting what we just said, being like, oh, well, they're mandating the vaccine. Why don't they mandate fucking exercise? Because if the top core mobility is obesity from dying of COVID, and if there was no obese people, then it'd be way lower.
Yeah, I don't think that's the problem.
You think there's just a pandemic out there?
No, I was gonna say exercise isn't like a lack of exercise doesn't make you 400 pounds.
Fair.
It's
a lack of exercise makes you look like how I look,
right,
which is a little bit of a gut. But I still fit in size 34 pants.
Yeah, no, unless you have a specific like hormonal issue, a thyroid issue, like there's something that's just you know your metabolic rate just isn't there. Like that's if some people just no matter what they do, they can't help but gain weight.
But that's very low percentage.
It's not fucking 60% of the population like the
because
obesity
60% of people in America are obese.
Yeah.
And I think it's like 50% here.
Right. It's not exercise because I know people that fucking were like in sports and like ran hard and worked out
diet?
And were still like overweight.
Is this
like,
because they're drinking soda and shit?
Yeah, it's fucking gluttony. It's sugar. It's like for some people, it's you can have a lot of sugar and it doesn't affect you.
You eat fast food every goddamn meal.
I'm shredded.
And you are you're not shredded.
No, I am. I literally am. I can see my abs now. I'm more muscular than I've ever been.
You are a twink, I think is fair to say.
Sure.
You are a 105-pound soaking wet man with tiny balls but a big dick, and it's weird. And you eat like a
I'm not even gonna argue with you. I'm fine with all of this.
You eat like my dog Winston when he sees you have a burger.
Yeah, I eat a lot of fast food. I drink a lot of beer.
Pretty much every day.
A lot of alcohol.
And you are fucking tiny little twink boy.
I also hand bombed like 17,000 pounds of stone off a truck yesterday.
Dude, I do that every day with wine.
Yeah, like you do. Well, I think if you had my metabolism, you'd probably just look like me. Like the difference between us is probably more genetic than anything else.
I would believe that. I'm not exactly active, but I'm not exactly sedentary either. Like I do a lot of events where I'm carrying, hundreds of pounds of wine back and forth and moving, and like, and like even in working in the back and like doing assistant winemaking and like it's a lot of picking stuff up and bending over and walking upstairs.
On the average day, you probably do as much physical work as I do.
I'm curious. I want to figure out my steps and shit in a day.
You don't just have it turned on?
No. What do I look like?
Just turn on your fitness app.
Oh, okay. Because I feel like I'm probably doing fine, I think.
Probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, like in order to get to that point of obesity, like that's severe gluttony.
But is it like, okay, like how do we have 60% of the population that are obese?
Well, obesity itself as a class, like, you don't have to be that big to reach that benchmark.
Is it just like weight versus?
Yeah, it's a body mass index.
Isn't the body mass index kind of bullshit?
But it's also like body fat content. I think that's also kind of weighed into it. They're like, oh, they can have ways of measuring how much fat is on a person. Like there's a certain percentage. They're like over this percentage of body fat to mass.
Okay.
So there's science to it, not just like height versus weight. but even in that threshold, like, there's definitely kind of like a gray area, but like the severely obese, I guess, would be an entirely different conversation. But even when you're just a little bit into that category, you already are like taking years off, quote unquote, years off your life. Don't at me about your 90-year-old fat grandpa. Come to think of it, I haven't seen one. There's immediately effects, like just the fucking physics of it. The capillaries that are like in your skin and in your fat cells, just in order to get blood everywhere in your body, there's just more body
When you ever see like
to supply.
ever see like a X-ray of these fucking big 800-pound people?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not talking like, obese, like the people that are like 250 pounds or whatever, and like 5'7".
Yeah.
I'm talking like, you ever see these fucking 800-pound people? The people, there's like, what's that show? There's a show on fucking like TLC.
My 500-pound or 600-pound life or something.
Yeah,
like
that, holy fuck, those people. Man, there's a girl, I can't watch that shit. I'm just like sad.
Yeah.
But like, I'll see clips every so often just on TikTok or whatever. And there was a girl that literally couldn't get out of bed anymore.
Yeah.
And she like shat in a bedpan and got her like husband to clean it up and shit, and like literally did not move out of her bed.
Yeah.
Like, what fucking life is that? Like,
yeah, I remember this one clip where she's like trying to get onto a hotel bed,
yeah,
but like couldn't obviously lift her weight up.
yeah,
And the bed was kind of high, so she's trying to sit on it, and it just like slid away from her,
yeah.
and she just like fucking loses her temper on her husband, and is like, why didn't you fucking
These people,
prevent the bed from rolling away from me? Like, was just screaming at him for 5
I don't want to be
minutes.
like, I don't want to like generalize people, obviously, but someone like that, I can definitely empathize. Like, I could see how they would just be so angry with life.
Oh yeah, 100%. You're fucking mad at everything.
Yeah.
It's either that or you're just gonna be sad about everything. Like,
But then also, like, it's hard. Like,
you're not gonna be even tempered and like content.
I go back and forth between it's hard to have sympathy for people when they're doing it to themselves.
Yeah.
And then also that, I can understand that maybe a lack of education was the root of it. It's the same we were talking about yesterday about white privilege and whatnot, where it's like, was it you or Mitch said something like, you live on a reservation long enough and then you want to start smoking or whatever, just because your life sucks. There was more context to that. Don't take that clip out of context and be like, no, there was more. But that was like, and then
I don't think anyone on a reserve would probably disagree that much. But
that's fair. But then I said something like, no, but if I someone like me spends a lot of time there, my mind goes immediately to, how do I make my life better? Not how do I, right? But then you said something like, yeah, but that's because you're a white male and you don't understand that kind of context.
And you're not the third generation that did this.
Yeah, which I empathize. So I'm saying I'm not an expert on this subject, but obviously, like, there's education problems, and a lot of these people probably don't get taught good nutrition. Like, I didn't retain anything about fucking nutrition from school.
Yeah, I only retained what my mom taught me, which was actually quite a lot.
All I retained was the fucking food pyramid, which is bullshit. Which is actually bought and paid for by like the wheat lobby
and dairy farmers.
Because no, carbs are not part of the balance. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you should be.
I disagree. This beer is definitely part of my diet.
Word, but like on the fucking food pyramid, it's like, yeah, you got to drink 9 glasses of milk and eat a loaf of bread every day. It's like, no, you don't. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's amazing.
But okay, whatever. But like, my point being, some of these fucking people I know that I've met before that are like severely overweight, like, you'd see that person and be like, oh, drink fucking 2 liters of pop out of the bottle.
It's fine.
But like, just stop doing that, right? I don't know. Like,
just stop drinking alcohol, Willows.
If I ever got that big, I would.
Yeah, like that's kind of what my next point was going to be. It's like, I guess everyone has their vices, right?
Yeah.
And we all have that thing that we just kind of lean on. For some people, it's food. Like, you just can't not, right? It's an unhealthy relationship with food, and it's something you just don't have reasonable control over. But the thing is, like I said, there's a massive scale within obesity that exists. So majority of it's going to be people that are like have an unhealthy relationship with food because either it's apathy or it's convenient or it's cheap or it's easy.
I'm calling this episode Tyler is now obese.
Nice.
Okay.
Also, like in the black community, like the black community that I spent a lot of time in Cleveland was fucking hard to get a healthy meal, man. Like it was a struggle.
I remember I
couldn't put together a healthy meal if I tried, and if I did, it's like there's no like fresh produce.
Because a lot of the black community in America has high blood pressure problems, and diabetes problems because you got to drive out of the hood to get a fucking
decent meal. Yeah, it's just greasy.
I feel bad shitting on people. But at the same time, I think like there's always a certain amount of personal responsibility people need to take.
Yeah, 100%. Like I'm on the side of these people are victims of circumstance or maybe of just the way that they are, or they've got an incredibly, difficult and maybe painful life. They've got an infinitely complex issue that you're just simplifying. But at the same time, I don't think it's productive. And this is something that a lot of liberals are really into, is just they're victims. You can't make them accountable for anything. And it's the same thing with like the homelessness issue in like LA. They're like, they're victims. Like we need to just give them free housing and free money and free food because they're victims of society and of Elon Musk, and therefore they deserve to be helped. No questions asked. They don't own any of the responsibility for their situation. And the answer is
somewhere in the middle.
Absolutely somewhere in the middle.
Well, because I think I can acknowledge that there are people that are a victim of their circumstance.
Yes.
But then also teaching them, the way to go about it is to teach them the skills to not be a victim of their circumstance anymore.
Here's a simple example. My girlfriend was a preschool teacher for a while, and
Your girlfriend's in preschool?
Yeah. There was a new...
You're an obese twink who's also a pedophile. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah, please put that on a t-shirt.
This sickness, I'm kind of loopy if we're being honest today.
It's probably the 42 cough drops you ate.
Yeah, if you leave a comment, how many cough drops can you safely eat? Because I've eaten like a bag and a half today. I've eaten like 40 of them. Is that, like, am I okay?
You might be honestly kind of fucked up.
Maybe.
And now that you're drinking, maybe it's going to make it worse.
I kind of feel loopy if I'm being honest. I've also taken a fuck ton of sinus medication today. I don't think you're supposed to mix and match with alcohol.
Am I going to take you to the hospital after this?
Do you want to take a shot?
Yeah.
So, before we get into your next topic, we're going to transition here into the segment that we call Shot Caller, the part of the show where you, the audience, can pick the shot that we take. This episode is sponsored by old buddy of ours, old favorite, Tennessee Mountain Made Old Smoky Whiskey. We're drinking the mango fucking habanero whiskey. It's back, gentlemen. If you listen to this podcast for a while, you know that this is a fucking running joke that we drink the fucking habanero mango whiskey. So here it is again. Thank you, Old Smoky, for sponsoring my
sinuses. That'll clear up your nose.
That's what I'm hoping, man.
Delicious. But yeah, anyway, so my girlfriend was a preschool teacher for a while.
Oh, never mind. I was gonna make the same joke.
And there was a new girl that was working. She was young, was not experienced with kids, did not know what the fuck she was doing.
I love girls that are young and not experienced with children.
Shut up, Willows.
Yeah, all right. This is half my podcast.
It's also lame. Get a new bit. So when a little kid falls down and bangs their knee, but like you can see it's like, oh, they got a tiny scrape, but like they're not fucking gushing blood. Like it's like a little bruise, and they look at you and they have that look on their face. They're like trying to decide if they're gonna cry or not.
Ignore them.
No. You'd be like, you're okay, you're fine. keep going. Just go play. You're fine. Just rub some dirt on it. You're good.
Rub some dirt on it. You're good.
Yep.
That's what my
if you do
girlfriend
that-
told me in bed last night.
If you do that, the kid will probably be like, pop up, and it'll be fucking fine, and they'll forget about it in 30 seconds. If you go up to that kid and is like, oh no, did you fall down? Oh, let me look at that. Oh, you scratched your knee. They'll fucking cry. I don't think that behavior ever changes.
Oh, I just saw the metaphor you're trying to do.
If you treat someone
Go up to an
who
obese
needs help,
person and say, you're a victim of the society. Oh no, you got fat. Oh no, we're going to help you.
you need all this. They're gonna be like, either they're gonna be like, oh my god, you're right. I'm a victim. I'm helpless.
And then they start crying.
Or they're gonna be like, no, actually, I chose to be here because I love drugs. But
Wait.
you know what? Free house. That's dope.
Mood.
Those are the two outcomes. And I'd do the same thing in their shoes.
Of course.
So I also want to, before we transition out of this topic, make sure to emphasize the fact that, the quote-unquote attitude of, someone that's, 600 pounds and pissed off, I think you'll find the exact same behavior from the jack dudes at the gym.
Why do you think that is?
It's the same mindset. One person's addicted to food, the other person's addicted to fitness.
Or their self-image.
Right.
Vanity.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. No, I like being in the gym change room with specific people, like these guys that are in their late 20s. All they do, they work a basic ass job. They don't really care about.
Probably drive a Dodge Challenger.
Probably drive a Dodge Challenger or some mediocre Mercedes or BMW.
Yeah, you got like a 127 BMW.
No, like a 3 Series.
Okay.
They drove a 1 when they were 23. Now they're like 27, 28.
And they upgraded to a 3,
Yeah.
335.
Yeah, they lease it.
Yeah.
And they go to the gym 5-6 days or maybe 6-7 days a week. These guys definitely took steroids. Like, we're talking about it openly. They definitely took steroids. They're just like puffy, fucking jacked. Like, they could be like on a stage, like posing and shit. Way too big. And just talking, it was like a Friday. They're just talking about like all the pussy they're gonna slay at the club later. And this guy's like, he's like, yeah, well, I already laid pipe today, so I don't really care. But I think it'd be fun to see if I could get another one. Like, these guys are almost 30. And they're going to the club to pick up
18-year-olds.
presumably,
Yeah.
or at least younger. Like, I hate those people.
See, I don't go to the gym, so I don't see these people.
Yeah, it made me kind of sad, honestly. I was really sad. And I was like, you could just work out to be healthy and feel good.
Nah, it's dumb.
It's like,
Gotta get jacked, bro.
yeah, there's like no side effects of steroids, right? It's fine.
It's fine. You already have tiny balls, so it's fine.
Take a little HGH, it's good.
GHB,
GHB?
that's what I was trying to
Yeah,
say.
that helps too. That really makes the workout go by fast. You forget the whole thing. Forget it ever happened.
Fucking like Tech 9 used to mix GHB with like MDMA.
I've done that. I didn't consent to it, but it happened.
Rip.
Yeah, I had a 3.5 day hangover. It was great.
So you just keep doing drugs and then you don't have a hangover, dum-dum.
Yeah.
Want to take another shot?
Why did you pour another shot, Willows?
Thirsty? It's only 35%, that's why. Usually we do 2 if it's not 40%.
I was going to say it's 5% less alcohol, so we do 2.
Yeah, so we take 2 shots, right? Because 2, right? Follow my math here. 5,
Uh-huh.
right? 40, right?
No,
Divided by...
I don't know how you got from
'Kay.
2.5 to 40.
No, okay, listen. 40% alcohol, right?
Uh-huh.
2 shots,
Yeah.
right? Divided by 2, 20, right?
Yeah.
35,
Yeah.
right? That's only 5 less than 40,
Yeah.
but it's 15 more than 20, which is the 2 shots divided by 40, right? So 35, we take 2 shots.
That still doesn't explain it, but
I think I laid it out pretty well for you.
I'm being fucking concise, bro.
Shorts.
So Willows, talk
Yeah.
about your business. What grinds your gears right now?
Man, same as always. Or not same as always. Same as the last like 3 months. I am. Sales are down. Because of COVID. And all the government supports from COVID are gone, are done. And now supply chains are fucked. Absolutely fucked.
And there was a drought.
I had my bottle supplier call me this week. And you know how you love to hear calls start? He said, "Are you sitting down?" was his opener.
Yeah.
And I said, "What, James?" And he said, "You know how you're paying $14.99 a case of empty bottles right now? Well, that's going up to $19.99. Keep in mind, before COVID, it was $8.99.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to buy a C can worth at like $6 a case.
Yeah.
Couldn't get the money together at the time.
How much was it?
20 G's.
Yeah. I mean, if you could have, you'd be laughing right now because you'd be selling bottles.
We were saying is that we could have like just flipping them, we could have 4x'd our money.
Yeah.
In 2 years. Like,
but you got to carry that capital.
You got to carry the capital, and all, like, who the fuck could have predicted this, right?
Right.
So yeah, you know, it is what it is. I'm trying to just kind of soldier through.
And for context, the glass is, in a lot of cases, can be as expensive as what's going inside.
Yeah, typically the packaging for alcohol is costs as much as what goes inside. Yeah, if you break my cost into pie charts, liquid and packaging is probably equal, and then the rest of the eight tenths is taxes, is government markup.
Nice.
Yeah. But
which is a lot.
yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I'm just kind of soldiering through. Like I said, it's just kind of like, you know, like I'll have reservations in my bar for the weekend, and then we have a day that 200 new cases of COVID, and then literally that hour, all my reservations cancel.
Right.
Like, and this has been happening more and more. Like, we might have new restrictions on Monday. I got people calling, "Hey, I'd like to cancel my reservation." Like, you know.
Yeah. I watch the news a lot, but I cannot relate to being on that trigger.
It seemed like I didn't really know, but now I see it. I see the trends. Like, events are less busy when we've had a bad week with COVID. Like, you know, it makes sense.
It does make sense. It's just like I pay attention, but maybe it's ignorance, maybe it's lack of, you know, public responsibility.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
I don't know. I'm just, my behavior's not really reactive, honestly.
Wow, you would say that me and you are different than the general population?
Well, we've been doing this podcast, and in general, well, I guess we stopped during like the harshest lockdown.
We stopped twice.
Yeah.
So this is, if you'll notice, if you look on the Spotify or Apple Podcast listing right now, I actually have this listed as Season 3, Episode 50.
Yeah.
Because our Season 1 was pretty, like, we just kind of recorded whenever we, like, once a month, kind of whenever we figured, like, we felt like it. Then we got into weekly recording.
Yeah.
That was kind of like Season 2, and then we took like an extended break, like months off because of COVID. And then when we discussed it, and we said when we come back, we want to do weekly, same day every week, get weekly content out there. And then we started doing it. So I consider this the third iteration. Also, the first iteration, we didn't have like mics or anything, and we were just talking into the fucking phone, and
that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, see episode 48 for that audio. Uh, um, yeah, it's been weird, man. I think we haven't had any major effects to our business at this point, and it sounds like they're figuring workarounds for a lot of these issues with the TransCanada. And I mean, if you didn't listen to last episode or pay attention to the news, 60% of our nation's exports have been cut off by a once in 500 year flood in British Columbia that knocked out the TransCanada Highway, the main rail line, and also the main TransCanada Pipeline. So that's gas, that's rail, cargo, and highway, including the port of Vancouver, which is 60% of our national imports, all cut off like overnight.
Yeah.
And that's amid supply chain shortages and fuck ups and stuff. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that was one of the reasons that your bottles are delayed?
Yeah. Well, not delayed, but yeah, he has 1,600 pallets sitting in Shanghai that he can't get out of there. His guy's just like, yep, sorry. We're not going the other way.
Yeah.
I have a business idea.
Sure.
Let's discover the Northwest Passage.
Okay.
Like the way from the Pacific to the Hudson's Bay.
Uh-huh.
They haven't done it yet.
Well, do you know anybody with a boat?
Mitch?
It's a pretty small boat.
Seats like 5.
It's like an 18-foot speedboat.
Yeah. How many people? How many fucking boats do we need to discover new things?
We need to like steal that like research ship in Gimli.
Dude, let's get a fucking icebreaker
Sure.
and just like drive down the river with it.
So if you're listening to this and you have the capital and or wherewithal to sponsor us to go on a seafaring voyage, which neither of us know how, like I can drive a jet ski.
I can.
You had a Thunderbird, that's a boat.
That's a boat, yeah, pretty much. I could probably drive a boat.
Yeah, we're gonna go do something that's
ever
why hasn't this been done before?
There's no point. It's also ice.
Well, not for long.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That'll be exciting news. Like, wow, we got the Northwest Passage because
Yeah, I think
all
it's
the
just
polar bears are dead and ice is gone.
it's all ice caps that way, so you can't get through.
We're not reasonably safe.
Well, no, not reasonably effective for shipping.
Yeah.
Like there's no point.
Well, shipping is all about efficiency, so they
They go down the other way.
well
They go over the Cape of Good Hope or whatever, right?
right. They use the currents.
Yeah, but they go down around South America.
Or through the Panama Canal.
I thought the Panama Canal was blocked by a ship trying to draw a dick on the ocean.
That was the Suez Canal.
Oh, fuck me. Remember when we invented... Holy shit. Remember when America invaded Panama just to build a canal?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like 30,000 people died.
It's fine.
That wasn't from the
Building it.
invasion. That was just from the labor.
That was like because they had basically like slave labor do it.
Yeah, it was slave labor and steam shovels.
It's fine.
And like they did not have safety regulations. They're like, oh, let's build a scaffolding out of those
The bones
sticks over there.
No, the bones
of the
people
guys
that
that
died
died
already.
last week. Yeah, we'll use their bones for dunnage.
It's like in Pirates of the Caribbean 2. I think Pirates of the Caribbean 2, where they're trapped on the cannibal island, and Jack is the chieftain of the cannibals somehow.
Why not?
And then they're in cages like hanging over the side of a cliff, built out of bones.
Yeah.
And then Will's like, "Where's the rest of the crew?" He's like, "These cages weren't built till after we got here." And then he's like,
That's pretty gross.
It's fine. It's a Disney movie.
What do you think your bones would look like?
Bones!
What's that supposed to mean?
Do you think dogs lick you because they know there's bones inside?
Oh, definitely.
Do you know your bones are always wet?
Damp.
Moist.
Your bones are wet, and I hope you don't sleep tonight.
You're just a skin puppet being operated by your fucking wet ass brain.
I was gonna say you're a meat sack held up by your wet ass bones.
Bones.
Yo, do you see that meme of Beyond Meat sausage? But it was like in a container that was like sitting on its side in a vending machine.
Okay.
And they just like compressed or like wilted, so they went from like being sausages to being like balls. And they look like just half chubs. It was really gross.
Looks like me right now.
Really gross.
Half chubbed.
I'm just waiting for you to fucking fall out of your chair, man. I feel like this cough syrup / sinus medication / Old Smoky / Michelob Ultra is not gonna... He's vibing now. So what are you doing for Christmas, Willis?
I don't celebrate. I don't celebrate these fucking pagan holidays.
You just reminded me of something.
Okay. Continue.
So, new guy that works for me.
You have a guy?
Yeah.
You have
He just told me today he grew up Jehovah's Witness.
Nice.
And he's like, yeah, not gonna lie, it like fucked me up.
Well,
and I'm
yeah.
like, no shit. He's like, yeah, I was my entire childhood. He's like, you know when they do like the national anthem and Lord's Prayer at the beginning of the day? He's like, I wasn't allowed to stand.
Yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
You're not allowed any symbols, and you're not allowed any songs.
Joy, happiness.
You get joy out of the standing for the national anthem?
Yes.
I don't think they can get their pictures taken either, right?
My patriotism swells up to full mast.
Is that Jehovah's Witness that can't get their pictures taken?
I think that's Amish.
There's ones that can't get their pictures taken because they think that cameras take their soul out.
That sounds like Mennonites.
And they won like a Supreme Court case that they don't have to have pictures on their licenses.
Oh, no, I know what you're talking about. No, it's symbolism for them. Also, they're not allowed to like possess or use like any imagery of Christ.
Okay.
Which, I mean, we got on the subject because I was talking
Oh,
about
it's like Muhammad.
like Francis Borgia making his
Caesar
Borgia, yeah, making his likeness what we now know was like whatever the likeness of Christ and erasing Black Jesus from history.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, maybe that's why we weren't allowed to have pictures of Christ. And I'm like, no, I think they just. I can't imagine they did it for a legitimately good
I was about
reason.
to say that's weird, but then I remembered that Muslims can't depict Muhammad.
Right.
That's a weird one. Remember when South Park did it, and then they almost got like terroristed?
It's fine.
Like fucking Al Qaeda was like, "We're coming for you, South Park."
Yeah, and then that UK professor showed a political cartoon like mocking the Prophet Muhammad.
And then someone bomb him,
and then he got stabbed. It's UK. It's UK. You get stabbed.
There was a French magazine.
Or was it a French professor?
No, there was maybe it was, but there was a French magazine that published like a cartoon making fun of it.
Yeah.
And someone bombed their fucking publisher.
It's fine.
It's fucked. Like, I don't know. I have a problem when you're like, I don't have a problem with anyone's religion, but like, why? If somebody else depicts,
if you can't take a joke,
no, but like, not even that. But if somebody else depicts Muhammad, they're going to hell.
Right.
You're not.
It's fine.
Why do you give a shit?
It's like, oh,
why are you mad about this?
Justice will be dealt.
Yeah, like if anyone, any religion, believes in the heaven and hell thing, which most, at least Abrahamic religions do, why do you care?
Well, I think
just let them go to hell then.
I think with these extremist groups, it's the idea of jihad, how you have to, like, the greatest honor is murdering.
Dying in a holy war.
Yeah. Dying in a holy war, but also killing
Infidels.
Infidels, yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Which I'm pretty much all there. Like anytime someone wants to bomb a magazine cartoonist, I'm all for it.
Yeah, they're the root of all evil.
What's your favorite comic strip?
Tintin.
What?
That's not a comic strip. What's your favorite comic or comic strip?
Let's do either.
I'd say comic would my favorite would be Tintin, which is problematic because it's like...
So the dog one?
It's like, well, it's gonna say dog whistle, not dog whistle. Like, I'm pretty sure like the author was like a fucking Nazi, which is great.
Yeah, but I like Ford, and fucking Ford was a Nazi.
It's fine.
It's fine.
I think, yeah, probably Garfield. Growing up was my favorite. No, like I legitimately read like every Garfield.
I'm a big Perils Before Swine fan.
Perils Before Swine.
Used to be in the paper. It's I have like all the big collection books.
Yeah.
Stephen Patisse, shout out him, or Stefan maybe. It's like a pig and a goat and a zebra, or no, a pig and a rat and a zebra, and they just like live in a house together, and then their like neighbors are crocodiles. It's a whole thing. I don't know. I like it.
Well, it's comic strip. You don't gotta.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite one. And then I like The Far Side by Gary Larson. Those are classic. Those are like really absurdist, like.
It's like political comics.
No, they're not political at all.
Not political.
They're just like complete. Like there's a lot of talking cows in them. You'd love them.
Are they like?
I'll lend you some of my books.
Oh, so they're like graphic novels. Like
no. Well,
or are they short strips like Garfield?
Perils Before Swine is short strips like Garfield. Far Side is usually like one panel.
Right.
Just absurdist. Like I'm trying to think of a couple. Like there's one where they're working in a rocket lab, right? And the guy's like tightening a bolt on a missile, and then another guy's behind him about to like with a puffed up bag that he's about to like pop and scare him, like shit like that. And that's the whole that's the whole joke. And it's just like they're absurdist, like just yeah. There's just some. I'm trying to think of more, but yeah, I have all those collections too. They're just fucking. It's like what, but they're funny. They're good shit. I think you'd like them.
I should pull that prank on one of my coworkers. Yeah, like when sometimes when you're installing, I think probably the only equivalent for what I do would be when you're installing like a big porcelain slab or something. These are like $1,000 per piece tiles. And they make a very distinct sound when they crack. And it's a very subtle, like, stick sound that when this thing fucking cracks while you're installing it, it's a nightmare. Not only is it expensive, but it's a pain in the ass. You can lose an hour, you can lose 2 hours of work, plus $1,000. I think it'd be hilarious to, like, just sneak up behind one of my coworkers while they're installing one of these things with like a piece of tile and just like
let's get crazy,
crack it.
This is the first drug I'm ever gonna do on the podcast. Gonna take a pill.
I just saw you put white stuff in that pill. I'm a little concerned. What was in it?
I don't know.
He's got like a drug roulette table. He's fucking balls.
I don't know. What's in fucking sinus pills? I don't fucking know. What do I look like?
Cyanide.
I wish. Hey? We're gonna do an episode. Let us know if you want to see it. But we're gonna do an episode where we do edibles.
Oh.
We've talked about this.
Yeah.
You don't act surprised. I have them sitting over there, and I keep thinking about them.
Oh, is that you've been eating? Not
yeah,
not halls, just edibles.
Well, I don't. Yeah. No, I don't. I don't smoke weed. Neither of us really do.
No.
You only do like maybe special
Socially.
occasions,
Yeah.
but I never do. And it's legal here, so don't at me. Edibles are legal, right?
Yeah. Yeah, totally recreational here. You can go to the store and get them.
They were illegal when we legalized marijuana, though, right?
Oh, maybe.
Right initially, I think.
I don't know. Either
And
way,
then we
they're easy
figured
to
it out.
get.
But now they're fine. No,
Yeah.
but I don't want to do anything illegal on this podcast.
What about the
Yeah, I think that would be a great episode, but
and the one where we just like
I'll consult with my lawyer.
take something and just don't address what we've taken,
Yeah.
and it's not illegal because we don't know what we took.
Well, wait, every time Joe Rogan smokes weed on his podcast, he's like, "Oh yeah, it's Mexican tobacco."
Yeah, because now he's in Texas. He's like, "Oh, I love Texas." Well, meanwhile, it's like fucking
Wait, is weed-
sliding into authoritarianism.
Is weed legal there? Or
No.
Oh, that's funny.
No, you get shot for having a joint.
because he's a huge weed smoker.
Yeah, you get like shot for having a joint.
That's funny actually, and he does like shrooms and stuff all the time. Like
Yeah, no, dude, they made like abortion illegal.
him and Ari Shafir did a podcast where they were on shrooms.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. Yeah, they just made abortion illegal after like what 8 weeks or something insane.
6.
You can't even know you're pregnant after that.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's like you miss your period for a week,
Yeah.
and then you can't get an abortion.
Yeah.
Like that's fucking redonkulous.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. They're also home to like some of the worst voter suppression laws, gerrymandering, redistricting. Like, just it's really, really fucking twisted.
And an outlaw by the name of Texas Red.
Yeah, and they basically
Name of Texas Red.
made it possible for like the state electorate to like overturn the results of an election if they don't like it. It's like,
Yeah, we talked about this on the podcast.
yeah, they're one of those states.
Well, yeah. Literally any time someone wants to make fun of like stupid cowboy hick fucking Americans, they're like, "Oh, you must be from Texas."
They're their own country.
Hey, SpongeBob, what am I? I don't know, stupid? No, I'm Texas. What's the difference?
True. You know what would make a really good combination? Like, should be combined into one place,
Okay.
and they would all be happy about it.
Yeah.
Well, they should all be happy about it, but they wouldn't be because they're the same and they would hate each other for it. Quebec and Texas.
No. Because I feel
No, they're
like,
like the same.
They're
both extremely nationalist.
but Texas
Pretty
hates French
racist.
people.
That's what I'm saying. That'd be hilarious because they're both nationalists. They're both white.
They're both racist.
They're both racist, but they wouldn't be white enough, and like the Quebec would hate them, hate Texans just as much as Texans would hate Quebec.
There's many people of color here, Quebecois, in
Yeah.
in parentheses.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
you put those two states, like they have the same political values, but they would murder each other.
So
That'd be hilarious.
it's like George Carlin has a bit. I feel like I quoted George Carlin bit every episode, but he's like, Christians hate abortions, and they also hate homosexuals. But who has less abortions than homosexuals? They should be natural allies.
Yeah.
But it's horseshoe theory, right? Like
Yeah.
super right wing,
No, they're the same type of right wing.
Well, it's like like right wing Muslims and right wing conservative Christians are like believe exactly the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, great story.
Okay.
So one of my girlfriend's friends.
One of my girlfriends.
Yeah.
Mood.
Her partner's parents are these, which is ironic because they're a gay couple. Their parents are super racist, white, evangelical Christians.
I love being racist, but then like not being homophobic.
No, I think pretty sure they're also homophobic.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that's my favorite brand of Canadian. That's like
racist, but okay with gay rights.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you're white.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure they're not like super good with it. I think
White men can do whatever they want in their bedroom.
I think they've like accepted it, but aren't down with it. If that makes sense.
Oh, so they don't want to watch, but they'll like.
Sure.
I want to watch for the record. Hit me up.
So they're pretty fucking racist, and they just decide one day they're like retired age in their 60s, I guess. and decided one day that they were going to sell everything. Their cars,
Their entire stock portfolio?
their stock portfolio, their house, all their possessions, and moved to Panama.
Panama.
I don't know if you know much about Panama.
Just about their banking system.
There's a lot of white people there.
A few.
Like some war criminals.
It's fine.
But it's not a white country.
No, it's Latin America.
Yeah. So they sold everything.
Okay.
Had never been
To Panama.
to Panama.
Why would you ever move somewhere you've never even seen? That's wild.
Great fucking question. And they give their car to
You're right.
yeah. They last literally 2 weeks. And then decide to move back.
Because they're racist?
They didn't say that, but
Why the fuck is there a Spanish lady touching my clothes right now? No, the maids are
Yeah.
just Spanish.
if you're a racist white evangelical from Canada, you're not going to vibe in Panama.
Wait,
You're just not.
so they moved down there like not knowing it was like
Yeah.
Spanish?
Or something. They lasted 2 weeks. They're like, they committed to. They went through the process of selling everything.
They buy another house here? They come back?
They're in the process of
Oh,
it, I
this
think.
is like happening now.
Yeah, like
this isn't a story.
last,
This is like
last like 2
oh,
weeks.
say word. Okay.
Yeah. And now,
The worst goddamn time to sell and then rebuy a house.
right. And now, like, want their car back from their kid. They're like trying to get it back. And Carly's friend is like, no, don't give your parents their fucking car back because they're idiots. Like, teach them, they need to learn this lesson being goddamn stupid.
Are they anti-vaxxers?
That might be a part of it.
Tell the government. And they get stuck in Panama because they can't get on a plane.
Why wouldn't they be able to get on a plane?
You can't fly into Canada unless you're vaccinated.
Well, even if you're Canadian?
It'll probably go to the Supreme Court, but as of now, yes. But if you're a citizen, you have a right to come back into your own country.
That right is only protected by land border. You have to cross by land.
Yeah, because you don't have a right to fucking fly.
Yeah.
Fuck off. But you do have a no. If you're like trying to come back into your country, they have to like make accommodations for you.
Yeah, but you do typically have to actually cross a border. So,
Depends on the situation, but yeah.
for at least Canada, it is that way. So, for example, you lose your passport or something. If you're in the States, you lose your passport and you're in this ridiculous situation, you like can't get it, or it's taking too much time. You can like fly to the nearest city to a border or wherever you're going, and then you can drive to the border and they have to let you through. Like they can arrest you and process you.
Yeah, but
and
they have
whatever,
to. They have
to let you in.
I think, as far as I understand, they have to try you in a Canadian court, though.
Right.
Um,
And if you just lost your passport,
also,
you're not going to get charges.
well, of course. Also, fun fact: it says on the back of our Canadian passports, if you're ever in trouble overseas, like find a Canadian consulate.
Yeah.
If there is no Canadian consulate present, find a British consulate.
Yeah.
And go into a British consulate, and they have to help you.
Yeah.
It's that's an interesting little.
Commonwealth, yay.
Thanks, Commonwealth.
And if you're an American,
You can go fuck yourself.
there's going to be a consulate. I
You
mean, they have, what, like 200 foreign military
This
bases?
doesn't look like a consulate. This looks like a foreign military base. Shut up, shut up, shut up.
Yeah, they're going to have a consulate.
It's fine. I think we have a consulate everywhere that's not weird.
Yeah, I mean, we're pilfering minerals from virtually everyone, so.
We're pretty diplomat. We're pretty well liked on the global stage, as far as I understand.
Which is just honestly great PR.
It is great PR.
Well, it's great PR
We have this,
and,
like,
and
I don't
a
know-
relative lack of war crimes.
I want to no, we have more. If you consider the genociding of our indigenous people war crimes,
No, that was on our own soil. It's our own business.
Oh, it's fine then.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I said relative, by the way.
I don't know who the architect of the nice pushover Canadian stereotype, but they were genius. Because now we
is
can
there
do
an
whatever.
architect of it, or is it just true?
Well, I feel like I don't know. I have no idea. Are we nice and
Yes, yes we are. I've been to Ohio.
yeah?
We're exceptionally nice.
Americans are no. I think Americans are just exceptionally rude.
That's where the stereotype comes from, because there's a contrast.
Fair.
So that like Canadians come over
have
and they're like, "Wow, these
never-
people are so polite."
I have never been
clearly
treated
know-
more poorly than I have by Americans.
Yeah.
And especially American people in power, police.
I was gonna say, especially police.
Dude, I've told this story before. I had a gun fucking touched to my skin.
In a traffic stop.
For a traffic stop, and I was white and a teenager. Like,
Yeah.
fuck off. Terrifying. Like, holy shit. What the fuck? Imagine if I was fucking indigenous. I would have been fucking killed.
100%.
For nothing. I had a Mountain Dew bottle that he thought was a beer bottle in the dark.
It's not even
And
close.
he touched a gun to my head.
Still not relevant. Like,
Okay. What
Even
was
if
he
it-
gonna do?
even if it was a beer bottle.
Well, what was he gonna do? He's like, pull that thing out of the fucking thing. And I pull it out, and it's a beer bottle. Was he gonna shoot me?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
This isn't Prohibition era where it's judge, jury, executioner, shoot on sight if guy has beer.
Like, I've been detained by Canadian cops before, allegedly, and I've never been convicted of a crime. And last time I got detained, they didn't even pull their guns.
Yeah.
Like,
Because they got to write a bunch of paperwork when they do.
yeah. Not that I'm defending Canadian police officers, because I'm not.
We're talking
But,
about relative war crimes here.
We're talking about in a relative sense, Canada is well liked by the international community, because I think that at least our reputation is that we don't really pick fights with other countries as a national, like as political as a country, and then as individuals, we're usually pretty nice.
Right, yeah, we just we just hide behind America, basically.
I remember one time we were in, my family was in Disney World. I would have been 10, my brother would have been 7 or something like that. And I get like really motion sick on rides and stuff, so I wasn't like going on a ton of rides. But my little brother goes on like fucking anything. So him and my grandfather were going on a bunch of shit, because my grandfather was the same way. But my grandfather was fucking like 70 and had a pacemaker. So by the end of the day, he was like, I can't fucking do any more rides. Like, I'm going to literally die. And my mother and I were both like, no, I'm not doing these fucking, I'm going to fucking puke. So I don't know how we figured it out, but there was this other family in line at the ride that my brother wanted to go on to that was like Canadian. And we're just like, oh, you're from Calgary? Oh, yeah. Can you just take my 7-year-old son on this ride, please?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, yeah, sure. And just like, whatever. We just sent our fucking child just along with this family, and they just disappear out of our sight for 40 minutes. And then we're like, oh, they're Canadian. They must be fine. Like,
well, I think that kind of validates what you'll hear from most people's advice in terms of like, how do you know you can trust people? It's like, if you approach someone and ask them for help.
oh, it's the experiment of in a library, you ask someone to watch your shit.
Right. Yeah.
There's like I learned about this in sociology, that if somebody was like gonna steal your laptop when you go to the bathroom, if you ask them to watch your laptop, then they're way less likely to steal your laptop, even if they were going to.
Right.
Because they don't want to like disappoint another human. That's just like wired into us.
Yeah, but also like, if that person's like, oh, I'll watch your laptop.
Oh yeah, if
they're gonna steal it.
Yeah, if they bring it up, it's bad intentions. But if you put your trust in someone, you ought to, like, just as a human, you want to honor the trust.
Yeah.
And there's a whole social.
But also statistically, I've heard someone explain this, like, statistically speaking, if you approach someone, ask them for whatever, you trust them objectively, it's probably going to go okay, because, I mean, statistically most likely, but also because of that reason.
Also, I feel like you find you find another Canadian in a foreign country. There's just kind of like a bond there,
Yeah.
where you're like, oh, I understand.
Yeah.
It's the same way like
Nationalism, it's fine.
Well, yeah, but it's the same way like immigrants find their own people. That's why like Chinatown exists.
Yeah.
Because you move somewhere, and then where do you buy a house? Where all the people from your country are buying houses.
Or just where one person, you have a relative, you have a friend, you have usually it's a single personal connection.
We have a strip off Sargent Avenue in Winnipeg that's just all Nigerians. It's literally 100% Nigerians.
Yeah.
And then fucking like Garden City is all like Sikh people. Like a lot of like Indians and Pakistani. And then like
and Filipino.
Yeah, we have a Filipino community, like but they're all like clustered. It's interesting. Like
you drive you don't like the cuisine, drive 3 blocks, you'll hit a different country.
Yeah, it's an interesting social phenomenon, but that happens in New York too.
Yeah.
Like New York is probably the best example in the world of multiculturalism. And you have these little within the boroughs you have these little neighborhoods of specific.
Yeah, the Irish, the Italians.
Yeah, the Caribbean, the whatever.
Yeah.
Like you have these specific smaller groups. It's a really interesting.
Singapore's another one like that.
It's a really interesting social phenomenon.
Yeah. I was gonna say, it just kind of occurred to me, like, why do you think that Canada is basically omitted from most just general discussions, especially around COVID, is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
So you'll have political pundits, you'll have reporters, whatever. They'll be discussing U.S. COVID policy.
But not Canadians' COVID policy.
When they go to make a comparison to like a situation, a similar situation, a similar state of affairs, but different policy, they will list off. I've paid a lot of attention to this. Because I'm like, when are they going to talk about, like, this is mostly kind of when, like, our numbers were super low and the U.S. was just fucked.
Yeah.
I was like, it's like, prime example. Like, could you get a better, we literally share a land border with similar population, similar culture, similar behavior, travel patterns. We're both similarly isolated geographically.
Could you get a better example of, like,
you cannot.
Policy versus, like, culture, yeah?
Geography and culture, but different policy politically, like you cannot get a better comparison. Some of these reports would list off literally 10 countries and not mention Canada.
Yeah. And you're asking me, why do I think that is?
Why?
I think we're just
why is Canada omitted from like virtually every discussion?
We're just like such a we're such an afterthought, I think. Like people don't think
why?
about it. Like
honestly, I feel like this might be fucking intentional.
I was playing a video game with someone from the UK just online, right? You meet random people online. And he like every time he'd like, introduce me to another one of his friends or whatever, he was like, "Oh yeah, and he's an American." I'm like, "No, I'm Canadian." He's like, "Oh, whatever." Like same shit.
Yeah.
What did he said you're from the Canada, United States, Mexico.
Right.
I'm like, fuck off. Do people say that over there? You're from the Yeah, but he was just pretty much lumped us in with America. Yeah. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what Canada's policies are because we're just America.
America light.
Because we sound like them.
Yeah.
Well, and then I like called him Irish. And he was from England. And he was like, "Hey." And I'm like, "Yeah. It's the same shit. Stop calling me American."
That's funny.
Right? Like, it's just an interesting, like, I think that often we're just kind of lumped in with, like, often, even me, even on this podcast, I'll talk about American foreign policy and I'll say us.
Yeah, obviously.
Like, we invaded this country even though it was America. And I'm, it's like, but I'm kind of saying the West did it. Which, when you say the West now, post World War II,
means anybody that deals in the U.S. dollar. And
it's America and their friends, but it's America, right? Like they're just kind of
whoever licks the boot.
And we're a community of 35 million people that live, 2 hours from the U.S. border. Yeah. Like, we're our entire country is almost the size of Russia.
We're like an hour from the border, but yeah.
Like our country's the biggest, bigger than the the European Union, as far as land goes. but we have the population of California.
Yeah.
Like, we're kind of not, doesn't really matter. Like,
Not that important.
yeah. And then we're so, like, just like you said, we're so tied in and connected and culture-wise to America, doesn't really matter to make a distinction.
But the reason I think, like, I feel like Canada's game is to go relatively unnoticed.
Yeah,
Like,
so we can just plunder the world for natural resources.
I was gonna say, like, our brand of colonialism and resource extraction and just fucking mistreatment of whoever the fuck we feel like flies under the radar, and I think that's kind of.
I've been off camera for like an hour. I just noticed. It's fine.
that's kind of the, what do you call it? Like, that's that's our MO. We're
Yeah.
just under the radar. We get away with shit.
Which is, I'd rather be that than America. I don't know. But when you say we, who do you, like, we always say they. They're
Right.
doing this. Who's doing this? The federal government?
I don't know. I haven't
who's
really
doing
thought
this?
about this before.
Me neither. I don't know.
Presumably,
Like, who is the architect of Canada's image? Surely there's no, like, I don't know. Dude, Americans, you can easily convince an American that we live in igloos. I've done it before.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Like, you can easily, like, they'll be
Like, people that live 3 hours away.
they'll be a little bit skeptical, and you're like, no, I swear to God. And they're like, really?
They're kind of by it, yeah.
Yeah, that, like, you can easily convince the average American that we live in igloos and fucking ride polar bears and shit, and we're like 3 hours away. I remember being in Michigan, and we're partying, going to a bunch of different places, meeting a lot of people. And I just started saying, when people ask me where I'm from, I'd be like, oh, like, you know, Manitoba, Canada, north of North Dakota.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay. I had a few people be like, where's North Dakota? I'm not even kidding. Like, because you go, oh,
This is in Michigan.
this is not very far. Like, this is Michigan. This isn't
Yeah.
Texas. Like, I had more than one person. Because I you know, yeah, after being like, Manitoba, where? Central Canada. Huh? Above North Dakota. Oh, after doing that 100 times at a party,
Yeah.
you just like, okay, we're Manitoba, Central Canada. It's right above North Dakota. And yeah, a couple people went, where's North Dakota? I'm like, I don't know, like Minnesota, South Dakota. They're like, I never really learned those states. Like, it's fucking wild.
I mean, there's 50 of them.
I still want to do, let's see how many states we can name.
Oh, yeah, no. We need a map.
No, I don't think I could put them on a map.
Okay, so we'll do 2 parts.
Okay.
One where we name states, and 2 where we take names of
And put
states
them on a
and try
map.
to put them on a map.
Okay.
I think
Because
this would be hilarious, because we always make fun of how stupid Americans are of like trying to put
Yeah.
like countries on a global map.
Well,
That we could probably do pretty well at.
I wanna see, especially like taking shots while we do it. We got to make it a game somehow. We got to make it a drinking game.
This would be a great drinking game.
Yeah, where I don't know how. Oh, no, because that wouldn't be fun. I was gonna say maybe take a shot for everyone you miss, but that wouldn't be fun because you'd just take them all at the end, and then the game would be over.
Right.
I'll come up with something, but I think we should. Yeah, if we could just
I was gonna
sat
say
down.
you gotta take 40 shots and get alcohol poisoning.
I think I could probably get 40 out of 50 states. If I like, not on the map, no way.
Yeah.
But if I just named them,
Yeah.
I bet I could get 40 out of 50.
Yeah, like the shit in the middle. I got no idea what's going on.
I can never get fucking New England correct.
I don't even know if that's
Remember-
east or west.
Remember, it's right under Atlantic Canada. Remember, JL thought it was a state, New England.
Right.
And I'm like, no, New England's like 3 states.
It's a region.
It's like
yeah.
Maine, Rhode Island, I think, right? Something like.
I don't fucking know.
Definitely Maine.
Yeah, Maine, because Stephen King.
There's 3 of them in that area. And yeah, but that always kind of fucks me up. But that's like the one when you look on a map, it has to be like a line pointing to it because it's too small to label.
Right.
Maryland is up there,
Maryland, yeah.
I think.
Yep.
Boston, that's Massachusetts. That's kind of up there. That's like below it.
Yeah.
Um,
Massachusetts is not part of it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I could get like 40.
I think
Does that include Hawaii and Alaska?
I think it's pretty funny how we're like complaining about gerrymandering, but also like the fact that there's like a South Dakota was like the biggest gerrymander ever. They're like, oh, we're gonna lose power. We need to like create more Senate seats, so they like split a state.
You know what I saw? So there was like a joke on like Twitter. I think it's like Texas and then like Ohio or whatever has like there's a stick of Ohio that like just covers the top of Texas and it's like super skinny.
Yeah.
And it's like doesn't make any sense.
Ohio's not close to Texas.
Okay, maybe not Ohio, but it was like there's a state that like it's like a state here and then Texas, and then right at the top there's just a little strip of the state.
Yeah.
That covers the entire top that's just like 10 miles wide.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? And then people on Twitter were like, what goes on there? Like, why does that exist? And then someone's like, oh, actually, it's because when they signed the bill that made slavery illegal, it's specified under this parallel. So they changed their state so that they could keep slavery legal.
Nice.
Because like under the 34th parallel.
Yeah.
So they seceded all that land to the other state that was under that right to the fucking line so they could keep slavery legal statewide. Yeah. It's interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Or like, what is it? Fucking...
cool and good.
Yeah. What's the country in Eastern Europe that doesn't have a coast? Croatia? That just... The other country has a fucking strip of land that goes around them up the entire coast for hundreds of miles just to landlock them.
Like most of this country is coast.
It's the funniest thing in the world. Like it's because I think they won a war and they're like, you can't build a navy anymore. We're going to have our country go your entire coast.
Well, I think they had like there's like one little spot, like one little spike that comes out of that goes to like one port, but it's like 50-50 controlled by both nations, and the straight out of the port is controlled by the other. So it's like, okay, you have access to this one port, but if you want to move a ship out of it, you can only do so if we say so.
I watched a little CBC documentary, like one of those short ones on they have online, of a community that has to go over the U.S. border to go to school every morning. In BC. They're in like a weird island community off the coast of BC. And the only way to the coast or like to the mainland to school is like over a bridge over the US border back into Canada.
Right.
So they have to do like 4 border crossings a day.
Ooh.
To like get to school on a school bus, and they have to come through the bus and check everyone's passport and shit, and like
that's like in Ontario, when the COVID restrictions and the borders closed hit, there's like a bunch of people that lived in this one little community, but like all their grocery shopping and their jobs were across the border.
And they couldn't cross.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why, full circle back to the beginning of the episode, that's why Rittenhouse crossing state lines is fucking stupid.
It's bullshit, yeah.
Also,
it's
like...
nonsense.
These fucking liberals, they're like, we need high-speed rail that goes across the fucking country.
But also you can't cross
Also,
state
you
lines.
can't cross state lines.
Because if you do, you deserve to get shot.
Well, shout out Bad Legal Takes on Twitter. They've been having a field day with this Rittenhouse thing. And people were basically like, oh yeah, you can't self-defend yourself if you crossed a state border. So I was like... oh yeah, so I just take a family vacation to the next state over and someone punches me in the face, I can't do anything because that would be illegal because it's the next state over. Like, this whole crossing state lines thing was a dumb argument and they should feel dumb making it. I think we're going to transition here into the segment that we call Business Tip of the Week, where Tyler and I give you a business tip that we are currently going through in our own businesses to hopefully make you better at your business. I will go first because every time I fucking sniff, I'm reminded of it. Especially now at post-COVID. Like, we live in a world where COVID is never gonna have not existed. Like, you're always gonna remember this fucking time in your life. If you're sick, just take a fucking day.
Yeah.
And I used to like be against that, where I would just power through. and like, oh, I'm sick, but I gotta work, just take a fucking day.
I've
You
always
can
been in
figure it out.
favor of that too. Like, even if I'll even do that, I'll take it a step further. If I feel like I'm physically or mentally hitting a wall and I'm like, I just need to rest today, I'll call off plans. I'll fucking cancel work. I'll just stay home for the sake of like, I need to do nothing for a day.
Yeah. And I was always because like I was always in a position where I was doing all the work myself, and the business needed to be run. But realistically, looking back, if I took fucking 12 hours off, it wouldn't have put the business out of business.
No, 100%.
So just take the fucking day if you feel like shit.
Even if it's a mental health day.
Yeah, mentally too, man. Like it's important. It's they call it mental health, not mental gel. Anyway, do you have a business tip of the week?
Kind of along the same threads as recently. Having a very positive experience with new hires right now, which is great. And also may have unearthed a very awesome opportunity to get kind of into the more product end of the business.
Okay.
And it was just kind of through conversation with a new hire, and like just having exploratory conversations with your people. Like, you never know what people are going to bring to the table.
And I think a lot of people have a lot of valuable things.
Yeah, I mean, well, some people have like nothing useful, but some people have a lot. And yeah, I mean, hopefully it will turn into something in the near term. But yeah, stay tuned. Maybe I will share it one day, but I will tell Willows after we sign off, because fuck you guys.
And that being said, I poured another shot. While he was talking, I communicated with him with my eyes saying, do you want another shot? And he looked at me for a second and then with his eyes said, fuck it. So we
literally
we can talk like that now, which is good.
It's pretty sexy.
Anyway, so we're going to finish off this podcast as we often do by cheersing a shot and then taking it and then ending the podcast.
We don't do this often.
Do it harder.
Yeah.
We don't do this often, but here we go.
Do it harder, he says.
This has been Alcohol Beyond This Point, episode 50.
Thanks, old Smokey.
Follow us on Instagram, Alcohol Beyond This Point. You can follow us on Facebook too, but I'm posting less on Facebook now.
Because fuck those guys.
I think I just want to transition just to Instagram.
Yeah, fuck Facebook, dude.
Man,
I don't want boomers listening to this podcast.
You know why I use Facebook is because I get really, really good interaction with my wine business.
Yeah.
Facebook is like my number one social media with my wine business.
Yeah, you're like the only person I know that uses Facebook, unironically.
But like, I make so much goddamn money from Facebook.
Yeah.
Like, that's where all my wine club subscribers are. Like, that's like, Facebook's my demographic though. Wine moms, right?
Interesting enough, my demographics on Instagram, not on
sense.
Facebook.
Yeah.
I could get business on Facebook.
You know what it is though, I think? Your medium leans towards images more than Facebook posts.
No, I think it's like the demographic of my clientele is less Facebook friendly. Because
like for my wine business, I basically post the exact same content on Facebook and Instagram, but then I post unique content for like Twitter,
right,
and Instagram, because Twitter and Instagram are two very different mediums. So what I'll post on Twitter is a lot of like non sequiturs and fucking dumb memes and stuff, and like weird tweets and like more different content than I put on Instagram, but most of the Facebook content is just like the Instagram content essentially. Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's but that's the only reason I made a Facebook in the first place. I'll keep it around obviously, but I'm going to be most active on Instagram for the Alcohol Beyond This Point. So Alcohol Beyond This Point on Instagram. My name is Willows. Vote Willows on Instagram as well. Tyler, the _ builder on Instagram as well, is
also voting Willows in the next election.
Anything. When people ask me what am I voting Willows for, I go anything.
Everything.
Literally anything.
All the time.
Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Buy
Old Smoky.
They better sponsor me.
No free clout.
Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast.
This isn't two podcasters talking business. This is two business guys trying to podcast.